Another thing I actually learned in the process, even though it was hard, because some lessons are actually hard, you have to trust the process.
Yes.
So, yeah, while I was applying and I wasn't getting it, the closest people to me would say, trust the process.
Hello and welcome. It is Wake Up Concept and welcome to Each One Teach One episode. We are your hosts. My name is Kingsley Ife and together with my colleagues, I'm Kelo Akapinen. In today's episode, we will be chatting with a young doctor, Aderemi Fayoyiwa from Nigeria. She has flipped the script to become a senior cloud developer in Finland. Her story is amazing. We're going to learn from her today her experiences, challenges, and then of course how she followed her passion to become what she has become today. So without further ado, thank you, Aderemi. It's amazing to have you, and we're happy to welcome you. Thank you for joining us, Aderemi.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Good. So just to kick us off, if you could just give a very short, brief introduction of yourself.
Okay, thank you. My name is Aderemi Fayoyiwa. I'm Nigerian and presently I'm a cloud developer, actually a senior cloud developer at Passware here in Espoo, Finland.
Nice. Welcome. So finally we get to see each other again.
Yeah, it's nice seeing you again.
It's been a while, hasn't it been?
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. So oftentimes when people join us here on Each One Teach One, because we all find ourselves in Finland for some reason or another, we are always curious about how did you end up in Finland? And everybody has a story. How did you end up in Finland?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think almost everyone I meet for the first time ask me that. So, especially Finns, how did you get to Finland? What did you come here for? Yeah. So, yeah. In a nutshell, a classmate of mine back in Nigeria while I was doing my bachelor's actually introduced me to Finland because her brother was here already. Yeah, so she introduced me and that's how I got to Finland.
It was academic reasons.
Yes. Yeah, I came here to study for my master's degree, in 2016.
And at that time, when you were studying for your master's degrees, what field were you focused on?
Yeah, chemistry. I had my bachelor's also in chemistry, so I came to University of Eastern Finland in UNSO to further my education for my master's degree, also in chemistry.
Yes. And here we are, many years later, 5 years later.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years, right?
Yeah, it's been.
And here we are sitting with you, and you've gone into IT.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Okay, so after I graduated master's, I continued on to PhD. And then about a year into that, I kind of was thinking like, okay, so after PhD, what's next? Obviously, the most logical thing would be postdoc, but deep within me, I knew I didn't want to continue in that line. I didn't want to continue with academia. So what next? What do I like? Because let's face it, I'm no longer like a teen or
you look the part.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, so no one is gonna decide for me at this moment. So it's my life now, like solely mine. Decision is solely mine, and then I kind of had to be honest with myself, like, what do I like doing? What do I love doing? And what would I want to keep doing even in 10 years' time? What do I see myself doing in 10 years' time? So luckily I was working on computational chemistry. Even back in Nigeria, I did computational chemistry for my bachelor's, and I went on to do that for my master's and then PhD. So what computational chemistry majorly entails is doing the actual chemistry, but then not in the lab, not with the physical lab. So we simulate, we build these models as it should be. Physically, we consider a lot of things, and then we simulate with computers. So we are not in the lab physically handling chemicals or physically handling models. Yeah, so we build, we simulate models, and then for my case, I was simulating clay. And then that needs really big computer power, so computing power. We had to like send them to some supercomputers, and then we get back figures, numbers. That's all we get back, and then we have to like analyze them and make sense of them. And I love it. I love working with data. When I get it back, I love working with it, tweaking it, and then make it talk to me, like, can you tell me what you want, like, and then when it gives me something, if that is really not okay with me, there's a way I can tweak it, not like totally upturn it, but I can find a way to make it not really bend to my way, but you know what I mean, like tweak it and walk around with it. And I had a supervisor who was really lively, and then when I present my data to him, if it's not what we want, but I'm not at the liberty to, well, I say tweak at that point, because I have to report to them my findings.
Right.
Yeah, and then when we're doing something like that, the practical side, we have theoretical knowledge. We have what we are expecting. So that's why we know if what we are doing is working or not. So yeah, we have this theoretical knowledge, and then if what we get is not exactly what we were expecting, there probably might just be a reason for it. Maybe there's an outlier in the data that if taken out, then we get exactly what we wanted. And then I'll see my supervisor with this data, and then in a twinkle of an eye, we have what we need. I'm like, oh my word, it's so fascinating. And he at that point, now he's an emeritus, he's retired. Then he was a professor and elderly, and then I see what he does with data. And that is really not what he's into. He's a professor of chemistry. So I got really interested in data, and then while like looking within me, then this is really something I'm passionate about. So I kind of like dug deep into what career path I could have with data. So
like there's so much that you've shared, and I really want to even throw a question at Kinsley based on what you've said, because you're speaking of the influence, or of course when you're studying you do need a supervisor to oversee your work, but also it kind of is like a mentorship role, right? Kinsley, you've been talking to me for months or for weeks now about the importance of mentorship. Tell me, what has your experience been in terms of getting the right mentor?
I think mentors comes in different shapes, and everyone approach life differently. So that also means that your experience as a mentor and the way you deliver your information to someone might be different from what the other person might, do. So I think it is good to have different, talk to different varieties of people. Because when you do that, you're going to have different, sort of understanding. So meaning that you have different options.
You find the right match.
You find the right match, but you also find different. They have different beat of, different ways of delivering information, different ways of of approach, because as you probably know, everyone's path is not the same. But whatever anyone is going to tell you also is deep rooted from their own experience and what their knowledge is. So I think that's how I see mentorship.
And people approach you for mentorship too, right? Because I think people see the value in having that kind of experience, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, when Aderemi is talking here about her academic experience, and she sounds, you are so passionate about this, and then fast forward many years later, you graduated last year? Or year prior,
June
the year before, 2020.
Yeah.
And here we are. You are here because of your work in IT.
Yes.
How did this happen from that passionate student to here?
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, almost at the tail end of my first year in PhD, I wanted to know, because that is who I am. I like to plan ahead. Yeah, definitely life happens, but then for me, I would like to have a plan. Although, maybe it wouldn't eventually happen as I planned, but then I like to have it like something I could see, make it visible, like plan it and be able to see it. So then at that point, I knew I wasn't going to continue in academia. But I am someone who gives my all to whatever I'm doing. So even at the back of my mind, I knew I wouldn't continue with academia, but at the moment, I'm an academic, so I have to give this.
You were committed to what you were.
At the moment. So I finished in about 2.5 years.
Nice.
I finished my PhD in about 2.5 years, and then while wrapping up my PhD thesis, I was taking some Python courses on the side because I knew after this I'm going to like move or
venture out.
I was going to branch off into IT. So along the line, my PhD supervisor then offered me a postdoc. And then I think that would be everyone's dream, right? Every PhD student's dream. And I had this a whole life like planned, and I knew what I wanted. Yeah, I knew what I wanted. I knew I didn't want to continue in academia, but it really felt good because that's another like security blanket.
Yeah.
If we look at it, I don't know how many months or how many years contract I was going to be offered, but at the moment it seems more concrete. And at times, adulting, you want something concrete, because it's more practical. Yeah, but then I had already managed to convince myself that I wanted to go into IT, work with data analysis or data science. I did my research, so it was either data analytics or data science. I am a data enthusiast, so I wanted to really work with data. So we continued working towards my dissertation and me actually finishing. So at that point, I was now looking for where to study data science or data analytics.
Really?
Yeah, and I knew that I wasn't going to go through the formal school because that would take longer. And then, in my opinion, the formal school tends to teach more theory than practical, and I don't have that much time, so to say, because then you learn the theory and then you need some more time to
do the practical.
Because when you're working, it's the practical.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I started looking at all these courses, boot camp, all these very fast hands-on courses. So even while I was preparing for my dissertation, I was already applying to some boot camp or some of these courses. So, and then I applied for internship in Helsinki. I didn't actually go out like myself to ask for it. I reached out to someone, and then that's
through a network.
Yeah, through a network. I know we are going to maybe come back to that, but I'll just continue from where I left off. So yeah, I was applying. I hadn't like gotten into any bootcamp or any course just yet. It's filled up or the best man because you really have no experience, those kind of things. So after I graduated, I got my PhD degree in UNSU. Then I moved to Helsinki to start the internship with a tech company in Helsinki. And then at the tail end of my internship, I got into a bootcamp for data.
Everything aligned.
Yeah.
In a matter of speaking.
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah. So that was where I studied artificial intelligence for data science.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, as they say.
But you know what? I like how you kind of highlight the importance of having done the formal studying, like the many years of like dedicating all of your time towards being a student, and so you graduated. And then thereafter, you need something more practical, something more hands-on, so that you don't have to waste or use more of your time getting more theory. Kingsley, also, like when you were talking to me once about your own academic experience, it was like during the time you were studying, you were also actually working. You were being practical. How did that work out for you? What is it that made it possible for you to be able to focus on your studies and still be able to do work on the side?
I think what she said is very sort of relevant. Knowing, ahead what you want to do. Because even while you study, if you're just waiting until your study is done to begin to think or set your plans, that might even take extra time. So I think in my case it's similar. When you get into school the first year, you have this sort of a 2 years plan that you need to. The school need to help you, you have to write it yourself, but they just give you that so that you know exactly what you're doing and where
you're heading.
So you don't waste your time and that kind of thing. So that was what I did. you know, in my case, I think at that time I knew that, of course, I looked at all the, like in my school specifically,
Right.
I look at the guys that graduated before me, and I look at what they're doing and where they are with their things, and I'm thinking, that's not what I'm going to be, right? And then everyone talks about the internship, which you do for companies here. It's completely free, but people are also doing it, just picking up any job just to make sure they graduate.
Yes.
But that's not what I wanted to do. So I had a plan. And my plan was, okay, I want to do this internship in the UK.
Yeah.
I wrote it exactly how I wanted it to be, and that's exactly what I did. It's all about planning and
Execution.
like she said, and that's how it is. You have to have a plan. It doesn't matter if your plan happens exactly how you planned it. You can change, you can adapt,
Yeah.
but you need to understand that, okay, you need to have a plan, you need to have a direction where you're headed. Otherwise, you waste a lot of time. So it's always good to plan ahead.
Absolutely. I once read a book, I agree with you fully, both of you. I once read a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's an old book, right? Classic. And one of them is like begin with an end in mind. And so I think both of you have just emphasized on that. And I appreciate to be part of this conversation, by the way. I should mention it. So now when I spoke to Aderemi when she arrived, I said, so how has it been since the last time I've seen you? And she said, well, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
When did the roller coaster start and what caused it?
Okay, so I was really excited to start my IT or data related journey. So when I got into the boot camp, I accepted wholeheartedly. Well, it wasn't like they brought it to me. I had to apply and then went through a series of interviews. But still, I was really happy and excited that I was given the opportunity, even though I don't have a tech or computer science background. Yeah, because normally people in my line of work either have a computer science background or physics and sometimes statistics. And I have none of that. I have a PhD in chemistry. Yeah, but then I had this determination and I had the zeal to learn. I was ready to learn. And then I made that known during the interview that even though I don't have the experience, but I bet you probably would never have someone in the class that has as much zeal as I do for these data science related things. So yeah, it was tough. The bootcamp was tough.
Yes.
Tougher than I expected. It was tough.
What were the challenges? What was the what made it tough?
Yeah, because it was a new terrain. I hadn't worked before, and then I took some courses, like I said earlier, where I was trying to finish up with my PhD, but then it appeared that that was actually even like the barest. Like that was the minimum you could have. There's so much more. It's like 100 steps and you're just on the first one. So it was just like I just came like empty, like I had nothing. And it's a boot camp. It's not like a formal school where you're being held by the hand and you're being spoon-fed. This is a boot camp, just like maybe with Lost Boot Camp, if that's more relatable. So it's go, 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 go. Ooh. That's how it is. It's a boot camp. It's not like a regular school. And then they really wouldn't wait for you, so to say.
So what qualities do you need to develop to be able to navigate
so you have to
phase?
learn on your own. Yeah, they are teaching, but if that is too fast for you, because I really had very little experience while I started, and then it's a class with so many people from different walks of life who have much more experience than I do, and then there were still people who had more experience than in the class. So it's like a pot.
A mixed bag.
With different kinds of people. So we had people that have even like worked in tech before. So if the tutor or the teacher is teaching about something, they already know. And then they are there like answering the question, and then the tutor assumes we all know, and then we move on. It's a boot camp.
They go with the pace of the fastest learners.
Yeah, so and there's a lot to cover in a very little time. So the extra time that you have to learn, you have to catch up. And then there's exercise, there's projects, because the aim of the bootcamp is for you to start a job once you're done. So everything is hands-on. And there are a whole lot of projects to do, real-life data to work on. So once you finish, they expect you to be able to hold down a job, hold down a role in data science, machine learning, whatever it is. So it's, you can imagine. So I'm here fresh and then...
thrown at the deep end.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is quite interesting, right? So if someone is actually listening to you now, I want to obviously look into machine learning, data science and AI, all these jargons that I really don't know the right terms. Like, what would be your advice? Now that you've gone through this boot camp and series of learning challenges and stuff, what would be your set of
I would say
advice?
Definitely go for it, but then you have to have at the back of your mind that most good things don't come easy, so you have to work for it. And I don't know whichever one they want to go for, but bootcamp, in the bootcamp sense of it, it's very fast-paced, and then you shouldn't be expecting like the tutor or the teacher would break it down. That's another thing. I was expecting it to be broken down like Lego house. You have to like take us to the bottom bricks and show us, okay, this is how this comes upon this. No, it wasn't done that way. So even though we have like homework, we have projects to do, at times not just you, so you can't like afford to do that at your convenience. If you're doing with 3 other people, you will have to like agree upon a time and you have to get it done. And mostly we have to return these things before the end of business day, not just end of day, because the portal closes when you're supposed to submit and you don't submit, then that's the end of it. And then such little time, and then you have to do the homework or the project, and then you also have to catch up on what was taught if you didn't understand. So it was like a full job, more than a full job, like extra. Every day you're working extra time, and it was crazy. I liked it. I loved it. Actually, like is like an understand. I loved it, but it was really, really, really challenging and demanding. And yeah, but then I had great teachers and then great colleagues that made it a bit easier. And yeah, people were always eager to help. So if you don't understand something and someone has a better experience or better understanding, then they put you through. And sometimes that's not enough. You still have to learn on your own. Yeah, you have to surf the internet, look for videos, educational videos, whatever, just to understand for yourself, because you have to understand for yourself, because you have to do it. It's like,
For sure.
Yep.
So let's maybe change gear a bit.
Yeah, so after I graduated the boot camp, then it was time to search for jobs, and I was really excited, like, me. Finally, after all of the stress, now it's time to get a job. So I started applying, and nothing was forthcoming. I think the timing was bad anyway, because we finished around June, and then I started applying at that time, towards the end of June and July, and then in Finland, as where most people on holiday.
It's on holiday, things shut down in July.
So it was like radio silence, but then that didn't really come to my mind. I was just focused on getting a job, and then I wasn't getting any response, and I was like, what is wrong? I should have a job by now. And then somehow in August, the first company replied, and then it was like they opened the floodgate, and then I get responses almost every day. And but it's not like I get the jobs at the end, because you have to go through a lot of process. So one day I'm like high with excitement, I'm going to get this job, and then in a matter of weeks they come back, oh sorry, we're going with the other candidate. So my hopes high and then low, high and low, and then I really wanted the job because I was so excited to start the job. Yeah, so it was really hard until I got this job that I am working at presently.
At those times when your interviews were not sort of picked up or rejected, were there any sort of feedback or were there any sort of learnings from those that didn't work out your way?
One of my mentors actually encouraged me and advised that once I get rejection, I should ask.
For feedback.
For feedback.
Because
like,
you need to know what
why?
you can work
Yeah.
on.
But then, unfortunately, not all the companies do
Okay.
that. Yeah, they say it's not part of their, it's not, what they do is
They're not
part of their
obligated to do that.
policy. But some do, they give the feedback, and mostly it's been experience. Like, you don't have the experience, you don't have enough experience. Actually, not enough. No, because I've never worked.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
It's tricky because how are you going to get experience
If
without
I'm not-
getting a way
Exactly.
in through the door? Because that's where
Yeah.
you get experience. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. But then I kind of have some connections, some networks that made that easier for me and made it a little bit easy on me, because while I was, I wouldn't say heartbroken, but I was a bit down, and I knew I had to keep applying, so I was applying, because it's like a number game. You have to,
Yes.
keep applying. If you apply maybe 1,000 times, probably.
How long
Then-
did that, how long did the process take? The applying process?
I started applying in June. I'm pretty sure about that.
Mm.
And then I got the job officially towards the end of December last year. So like maybe 6 months.
So, yeah. Okay.
And
That's not bad.
this is not bad, but I think if you feel if you've been so excited and so ready to get started, it can really be demotivating,
Yeah.
especially when you feel like you come so close and then
Yeah.
something just doesn't work out. You spoke on networks. I mean, these are the key words that come up when we have each one teach
Yeah.
one. We speak on certain key words. Yeah. So your network. How did your network benefit you, and how did you build your network?
Yeah, so I'll take you back to the beginning of the chat when I said I had to make a plan. Like, I wanted to know, what would I do after graduation in 10 years? What do I see myself doing?
Right.
So yeah, after I settled on that particular one, and then I did my research, which one was I going to choose? Okay, data analytics or data science. Then I went to LinkedIn, and then I looked. I actually set out to look for a mentor, but it doesn't have to be an official mentor. I just wanted someone doing what I want to do, and most especially someone who looks like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Why
went.
is that important?
Yes. Yeah, because when I got to Finland, there's this narrative, which I don't know, because it depends on individual, because we all have different experiences. So the path, there's kind of like a path set. So when you finish your master's, because that's what most people come to do, at least most people in my cycle,
yes.
yeah. So once you're done with that, you have to change your permit. I came with a B permit, that's the student permit, so you have to change your permit, and so that you can be able to work for longer hours, and also to benefit from so many things like the healthcare and all of that. Yeah.
So you are into the system in a way that.
Yeah. So you're more into the system, not like an outsider, like a student. So you have to get a job, any job.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like the narrative that I met, or the path I see people taking when I came. So, and that was the practical thing anyway.
Right.
And then people have different stories. Well, there's the racism, there's this and there's that, even though the language barrier.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I know someone who did that, and then she speaks the language so fluently, or he speaks the language so fluently, but still doesn't get the job, and they're trained for it, and all of that. So.
These are the stories that circulate out there. I've heard many stories pertaining to the language barrier, and a lot of people would sort of like tell you that yes, you know, not knowing the language, knowing the language does not guarantee that you will get the jobs.
Yeah, that's the thing, like knowing the language. But then I wanted someone who looks like me.
Who has had a similar experience.
Yeah, and then she's actually doing what I want to do. So that means if it worked for her, it can work for me. Yeah.
And you found such an angel?
I did, actually. I did. So I found someone who happened to actually be an alumni of the university I also finished from.
Really? So you guys have the same alma mater? Yes.
Yes, we do. So I reached out to her, Miriam Munezero. She's the chairperson of Think Africa.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her and I sent her a message on LinkedIn, and then I was actually expecting her not to respond so quickly, but she did, and she was so kind. And then so when we got talking, she sent me a number for ease of communication, and I remember the day so vividly. So we got talking, and she was like, you have to want it. And then She was really so nice. It was like I was speaking with a big sister, and then she asked me, why really do you want this? I'm like, well, you know the narrative, and then being black in Finland, the opportunities are limited. And then she says, well, you have to take that away. That is something you have to unlearn.
Yes.
And the earlier you do that, the better for you.
Yes.
So even if you get rejected, you should be confident in your ability that you have so much knowledge in whatever particular field that you're in that the color of your skin wouldn't be a barrier. Yeah. If you think you're that good, you should be convinced that you're that good at the color of your skin.
Beyond
your
appearance.
And then if you're turned down, then there should be something other than the color of your skin that you should be more interested in. So if you apply to a particular job and you don't get it, you shouldn't just assume that it's because of the color of your skin.
Yeah,
you
because it
ask.
becomes a handicap if you start believing that it works against you, and then you already come with that mentality that, oh, well, you know, I'm at a disadvantage. But it's not necessarily true for everyone.
Yeah, so she says you have to ask.
You have to be prepared to knock on doors.
Yeah, because she knows each time I get, well, maybe not each time, but often I'll say to her, okay, I got this response, I got that, I got this. Oh, yeah. And then when I said, okay, yeah, we have to regroup, and then we did. And then I got this. So, yes, you have to be able to ask, what do you want? You know what you want, and then you ask. And you have to look for people who actually are probably doing what you're hoping to do, or in the field that you're aspiring to work in, and connect. Yes. And thank goodness for social media, networking everywhere. The internet has made things much more easier. So you can look for these people and you connect with them. And politely might I add, because some people just out of nowhere just send you some random, very long episode. And well, a lot of people are busy, but then that doesn't matter. So you reach out to them. That's the major thing. You can cut that off. Yeah, so you reach out to them. Yeah, so you reach out to them, and you should be prepared to also convince them, because they're giving you their time. So you should convince them that you're worth it. And another thing I actually learned in the process, even though it was hard, because some lessons are actually hard, you have to trust the process.
Yes.
So, yeah, while I was applying and I wasn't getting it, the closest people to me would say, trust the process. And then I would smile. But deep within me, I wasn't smiling.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally understand it. You have to trust it. It's a process. You have to go through it.
You have no alternative.
Yeah.
You must trust the process.
You have to trust the process. So,
yes.
Yeah, if you're actually going through it at the moment, just know that at some point it's going to pay off. So, trust the process.
This has been very interesting and informative discussion, which I obviously appreciate so much for you making our time to do this. You know, like I said, or you probably know, we are in the business of trying to empower our own people, give them information, because I know now that, of course, there are a lot of people of color that are still in school studying and probably would like to follow your footpath. So what would be your advice in wrap? What would be the one most important thing that you will tell them to be aware of when they are looking for a place of work in Finland?
Well, it's possible. I think that would be my. If it's going to be one sentence, it's possible. So, and if they look around, I think things are changing. Yes, things are really changing, and it is possible. They just have to be strategic. They have to be strategic and intentional, but they should know that it's possible.
Excellent.
And I think your story kind of like demonstrates what you've just said. And I'm so glad you could come and share your story, because I think there's so much value in stories. And when we hear somebody's experience, then we can find that, okay, this is a part that I can take for myself, you know. And this, like these points that we emphasize, like mentorship and networking and all of that stuff, it is like you are a testament of how it actually works. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
For those of you watching, you heard from her, said trust the process. be strategic, and that things works. And of course, you need to put in the work, right?
You do. And of course, again, I would like to remind our viewers that if you liked any information or if you found anything interesting during this conversation, please make sure that you go and see the rest of the body of work, because we've got some archive material where you can get other resources or other information that can help you navigate your path here. And also, please follow us on social media. Thank you.